Welcome to my presentation, The Power of Rhetoric. So in this presentation, I'm going to measure into ancient empires, that is the Egyptian Empire and the Greece Empire. So at the dawn of the 10th millennium, before Christ existed, a group of migrants settled in the Nile Valley. So having River Nile as the blood, Egypt was at the heart of the New World, and magnitudes of engineering activities actually emerged amongst this group of migrants who settled along the Nile Valley. They built pyramids, and you will agree with me that when I talk of pyramid, or when I call the name pyramid, what comes to your mind is basically Egypt. So these pyramids were built by these migrants, and in the building of the pyramids, every member was involved, the men and the women. So men did the architectural bit of the work, and women took care of men as they did the construction part of it. They provided them with food, took care of them. Yeah, the place of women in the society, of course, in Africa. So royal pyramids were built along the Nile as well, and the royal pyramids were meant for the royalty. These are the places where the royalty, the kings and the queens, were buried in these royal pyramids. Egyptians believed in so many gods. They had the god of the rain, they had the god of war, they had so many gods whom they believed in. And Pharaoh was the one in control. All Egyptians were mummified regardless of their social status. So if you die, they mummify you regardless of your royalty and non-royalty. So they never gave hood to your social status when it came to mummification of the dead. In that very essence, they also believed in life after death. So that is a brief history of Egyptian, that is the ancient Egypt. I'll move straight away to the Greece, ancient Greece. Even this history which I'm talking about today, if we can trace where history started from, it started in Greek. So these are very mountainous place, and often at times people developed independently due to the mountains, which were so many. You find a group of people living on this side of the mountain, a group of people living on the other side. So mountain became a barrier to their interaction. So they developed independently. As a result, they emerged to be so diverse. This group of people had this talent, this interest. The other bit, which was on the other side of the mountain, had a different interest as opposed to these are the ones. So it resulted to diversity, and you see, as a result of that, they fought so many times because they had different opinions, they had different view, different perspective of things. And they explored the Mediterranean looking for new places. They really loved adventuring. The Greek people, they loved adventure. They loved adventure so much, and they tried, once a time they tried getting in Egypt, but they were so unlucky. The Egyptians were so secure of their territory, and they decided to chase the Greek away from their land, not to settle there. But they were lucky enough in one or the other way. They settled in Turkey, Italy, and France. And that is where they invented the dice, and the columns as well. So their religion was polytheist. Democracy was their type of government. People voted, and Athens practiced direct democracy where people voted on almost everything. However, not all Greece was democratic. There's a bit which wasn't democratic and had monarchical type of government ruled by kings or queens. So Athens being the capital city of Greece, it was where democracy started. These two ancient kingdoms got similarities. They both traded and did extensive trading. They were extensive traders as well, and trade was actually their main source of income. So that is the similarities between two ancient empires, and both civilization had an upper class, but the upper class were the landowners, and each of the upper class had their slaves. You find in Egypt, the religious priest also belonged to the upper class because they had a say in the political happenings. And this is a case also in Greece as well. And also, just like the Egyptians, the Greek also considered mental well-being of their slaves, or peasants rather. And so they built residential units rather for their slaves, and they were designed in a manner which could portray peace and harmony. So both the empires loved living in peace and harmony. This is a critical factor to them, even to their employees, They made sure that they lived in peace and harmony, that their houses were designed in a manner that could portray harmony and peace. They could both pray to one God at a time, depending on the type of problem that they were facing by then. If, let me say that it were rain problems, they could approach the God of rains. If it were maybe war problem, they could approach God of war. So they pray to one God at a time. Now, having at the back of their mind that this is the God whom we are going to approach. They couldn't pray to two gods, like we need rain. We got to like emerge victorious in this war. So they pray to one God at a time with their issues. Both empires drank wine. In a place where there are similarities, there must be differences as well. And so these two empires had their own differences as well. I just stated earlier on that democracy can be traced back to Greece. It had a decentralized type of government where democracy was practiced, as opposed to Egypt, where it was a central authority. I stated earlier on that Pharaoh was the head. So Pharaoh had more conservative approaches, and as he was the main ruler of Egypt, the general public did not have any say or representation in the government because he was the authority. It was kind of monarchical type of government. So the Egyptians also believed that Pharaoh had was some sort of god who was answerable to some higher gods. That is why they had so much authority given to Pharaoh. They were also involved, the Egyptians were also involved in creating great monumentals and Gaudi structures. Greeks were also involved. However, they created smaller ones, more literal pieces of art. In ancient Egypt, life was not just seen here like on earth, and that was the end of it. They believed in some sort of life after death. That is why if a king could die, he was buried with his wealth, because they believed that there was life after death. He was gonna use all that he was buried with in the after death life. Such belief was never experienced or never existed in Greece. Egyptians had gods and goddesses, just as I stated earlier on, the god of rain, the god of war, the god of so many problems. But these supposed gods had animal head with human body. So those were the gods and the goddesses of Egypt. However, Ancient Greece also had their gods. They believed in their gods, but their gods did not have this kind of body structures like some sort of animal head and human body. No, their gods existed in the clouds. They also believed in so many gods, but not with the structure of Egypt. The two empires have differences and similarities. The differences are traced with a factor. They exist because of a factor. I came up with a couple because they both existed at different time zones. They did not emerge simultaneously. They both came up differently at different times. So they are located in different geographical areas. They are not in same area. That brings out the differences between these two great empires. Greece is located in a mountainous area. Egypt is not. So that is a factor which results to many differences between these two great empires, and also on their similarities. Both had trade as their source of income. At one point or the other, they traded with each other before Alexander the Great took over Egypt. And also they loved arts. We have great monuments in Egypt, that is the pyramid. We also have this great monument in Greece, the Great Building in Greece. And they also loved peace. That is why they had a lot of emphasis in building the houses for their slaves in a structure or in a manner that could portray harmony and peace. In one way or the other, these two great ancient empires have influenced the modern society. Egypt, we trace back geometry and mathematics back to Egypt. Toothpaste was first discovered in Egypt and used in Egypt. The surgical tools that we have in hospitals were first discovered in Egypt as well. Greece as well has so many influence in the modern society. The sports and the Olympics that we have today started in Greece. Democracy can be traced back in Athens. So Athens is the father of democracy. These alphabets that we have in schools, the A, the B, the C, A to Z, which has composed all this that I have written in my slides, are traced back to Greece. So they have influenced the modern society in so many great ways. That is the Greek Empire located there, and here we have the Egyptian Empire. So basically that is my presentation on these two great empires with great stories. So thank you so much.